Embarrassment is an unexplored emotion, and your constant need to hit a home run is stopping you from ever taking a swing. These are two quotes that really hit me hard as I grow older and older and as I come to more realizations because I realized that my feel of failure or being perceived as a failure stopped me from doing a lot of things that I truly wanted to do. And even though I feel like I shook off of that, later in my life, that still kind of stopped me from doing a lot of things that I dreamed about and really wanted even as a kid. And I realized this as I do a lot more self work and realize how much my childhood impacted me. Um, and I realized a lot of it stemmed, funny enough, from when I used to play baseball as a kid. Now, when I was a kid, my parents used to sign me up for a lot of things. I think they were just trying to give me the life that they never had. So they wanted me to play basketball or they wanted me to play baseball, sign me up for soccer. They wanted me to take guitar lessons. Was very fortunate enough that they, took the time and sacrifice to do that, even though we weren't in a financial situation where maybe we could do that without worrying. They definitely set aside a lot of their own stuff to be able to give that life to me. And I realized that a lot of my failure from being embarrassed and kind of my, impishness came from baseball. And I can remember it clear as day. It's kind of like one of those core memories in the movie Inside Out. And it was at the end of the season and I was up at bat. I had never really hit, hit a single time. I maybe hit one single and then got out immediately. But this is the last game. I'm up at bat. There's two outs, so I'm like the last man standing. And bam, swing and a miss. Bam, swing and a miss. Last pitch, I hit it. I hit a double. For the first time in my life, I hit a double. I run out on base. I'm running as fast as I could. Safe. Right. So I'm already like, this is it. I can't believe this happened. This is the one thing that I wanted, one thing I practiced. I was always so embarrassed because I was the worst baseball player in the team. Some other guy hits it. I try to steal the base. Too slow. I'm out. I look around and I see my coach look at me in disappointment. I see all my teammates look at me in disappointment. And I remember feeling like the foundations of my life was crumbling at that very moment. I felt the heat of everyone's eyes. I felt like all the spotlight was on me, and I felt everyone's anger towards me like a scorching ray of sunlight. It was insane. I remember just wanting to shrivel up. I wanted to jump off a bridge. And even though maybe like 30 minutes later, everyone was kind of like laughing on the way to the last dinner, I remember just wanting to go home and die right then and there. And I remember from that day on, whenever I would try to do anything, whenever I felt like an inkling of embarrassment or failure, I would quit. Another example, maybe a couple years later, I'm in middle school. I always wanted to play basketball. I've watched it. All the cool kids played it. So I go to the tryouts. As soon as I get in there, people are really good. I never played basketball, so I thought it was be more fun. I immediately felt super embarrassed, imposter syndrome. I do one drill. It was literally you dribble diagonal behind the back, dribble the other way behind the back. I couldn't do one behind the back, whatever crossover move. Then I went home. I walked home and I was so embarrassed. And I figured out that this was a pattern that I did a lot in my life that really stopped me from doing things that I really wanted to do. Maybe it was like talking to the cute girl in class, or maybe it stopped me from running for some sort of position, or even stopped me from, taking on certain positions in like projects or I don't know, class council or anything like that. Like it always stopped whenever I felt a sense of failure, it always stopped me. And the I realized that I was still doing that up until maybe like a couple months ago. I'm 24 currently. When when my friends were asking to play basketball, just a fun little pickup game. And as soon as they asked, I was like, nah, I don't want to go. No reason why. I just didn't want to be embarrassed because I knew everyone was better than me. I knew that I would whiff everything, and I just didn't want to go. I did this, all like every single year. They always would play basketball, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go. And it's just because I was embarrassed of losing. And this is just like in a recreational kind of like sense. Imagine what it did for my school, my education, my career. Even for career. Like there's so many things that kind of happened. I was contacted by I was gonna work for a startup, and this as soon as I started feeling like I was failing, I quit. A lot of my first businesses, as soon as I started failing, I quit and I switched. Now, luckily, things went well, and I stuck with the thing that I'm doing right now. But this pattern of feeling of the feeling embarrassing, or what's the right word, of my fear of feeling embarrassed and failure followed me until I'm like 25. And it literally wasn't a couple months ago until I realized how much this controlled my life. It's almost as if I need to have 100% certainty that I will win in order for me to do it. This also happens in my jujitsu where, maybe in the beginning I was feeling really confident because I did wrestling. But as soon as I was getting my butt whooped and I was losing, I didn't want to go anymore. Oh, I'm injured, it's not too fun. But really, it's because I was scared of being embarrassed. I was scared of losing. And I just look back in my life and I realized like how many opportunities did I pass by because of my fear of being embarrassed. And I sat with that and realized that there's a whole other life, whole other universe where instead of shying away, I learned from those mistakes and that I said yes or I just kept going. And that person, like when I really picture it, I can't even fathom who I would be today if I wasn't so afraid of failure and being embarrassed. And so now that I realize this, I'm trying to like in my daily practice be more embarrassed or kind of like embrace it a little more. One of the ways I'm doing it is once I is through sports. I mentioned like that basketball game. I realized that, and then I went, no, I want to play. So I went, I played. Man, I played horrible. I missed 8 open layups like consecutively. I could hear my friends making fun of me going layup line, whatever. Right? Usually, I hear that, I'm pissed the entire game. I'm saying this game sucks. I'm throwing on purpose. I'm not even trying anymore. I want to go home. But I heard that and I thought, I mean, I whiffed it, but I'm having fun anyways. It's not that deep. The world keeps spinning and I'm still alive and we're having fun. And then I continued to whiff 7 more times with a smile on my face. And 5 minutes later, no one even cared. No one even remembered that I whiffed that many balls. Only me. And so that's when I really realized, like, wow, I was really just like my own worst nightmare. I was just terrible to myself, calling myself a failure if I did anything wrong, stopping myself from doing anything because I was afraid of like being looked at badly. Another example is karaoke. My family's Filipino. We love karaoke. But I would never sing because I'm not a good singer or I'm not like naturally talented like my dad or my brother. So I would never sing. But I like singing. So then during this Christmas, I said, fuck it, I'm gonna sing. And I had one of like the most fun times of my life. Screeching into the microphone, singing with my friends and family. How many times are those opportunities to sing with my aunts and uncles that I will never see again in my life did I pass up because of my embarrassment or my fear of failure or fear of being embarrassed? You know? And I'm realizing that I'm seeing a lot of these, to me, a lot of these big pivotal events like in my childhood, like sports. But it stops me from doing a lot of even the small things in life. Like I'm constantly feeling like that I need to be 100% certain in order to do certain things. And when you run a business, that's almost like death. Perfection, I'm trying to remember the right quote. I'm trying to be like way too deep, but basically if you're being a perfectionist, you're never going to go anywhere because you need to be perfect and everything is going to stop you from learning. And I learned that startups literally have the opposite mentality where they start fast and they fail fast so they can learn. It's like the lean startup method. And I realized that I don't do that. I'm literally taking years to make a decision, taking years to pivot, and I'm like afraid of failing and becoming embarrassed online because I want to be perfect. I want to be this guy that everything goes right. I want a perfect track record, and that slows me down and stops me from really doing what I wanted to do. For example, I wanted to start a paid community where I can help people in my business, one on one. For years, I was planning to do it. I was making the modules. I was doing it, but it's still taking me. Like I wanted to do this like 3 years ago, and it's still taking me to this now. I'm just now recording modules, still just now doing stuff, but it took me forever. And another example, which is probably the better example, is my YouTube channel. I wanted to start a YouTube channel, not this one, but my other one, for 4 years. And I just started to post consistently last year. And my life would be totally different now if I just started when I first wanted to. But the reason why I didn't is just because I needed everything to be perfect. And I didn't want to have any mess-ups. I didn't want to have any failures. I wanted everything to be perfect. And I think I listened to a podcast recently and it was talking about how Obama was sorry, there's a good effect. But it was talking about how Obama and how he was going after Osama bin Laden. And basically, they had no clue he was in that bunker. They had no idea. But he still went in anyways. He was 51% sure, and they still took the risk to go in there. And he was talking about how sometimes in life, or a lot of times in life, you need to be able to jump off the ship without a parachute. And so that's what I'm trying to do now with my business, with my life. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to do things. And even if I mess up, it's who cares? The fun part is about messing up and learning from it. And also, if you're always afraid of being embarrassed, you're never going to do anything. You're just never going to do anything. There's no way that you're going to be good at everything, especially the first time. So your need to be embarrassed is literally expediting your death. Be more embarrassed. Be proud of it. It's more fun. Life is way more fun when you're able to fail and be embarrassed and still have a smile on your face. I mean, this is exactly what I'm doing with this YouTube video. If you're new here, I mean, this video really is meant just for me to be a little video diary. But I also kind of want my kids, my family to see this and to look back and see this is what he was thinking, this is where he came from. This was the humble beginnings. And so if anyone even is watching this, be embarrassed. Embrace it. Have fun. All right, have a good one.